Hello everyone and welcome to Module 2 of Lesson 7. In the previous module, we covered the topic of define project scope. In today's module, we'll delve into the importance of creating a scope statement for any project. A well-crafted scope statement is crucial as it serves as the foundation of the project, establishes clear objectives, acts as a communication tool, and helps prevent scope creep. Let's explore these points in detail. The first point to consider is that the scope statement forms the foundation of the project. It provides a comprehensive overview of what the project will deliver and outlines the boundaries within which the project will operate. By laying down this groundwork, the scope statement ensures that all project activities are aligned with the project's goals and objectives from the outset. A well-defined scope statement also establishes clear objectives. These objectives specify what the project aims to achieve and set measurable targets for success. Clear objectives guide the project team and stakeholders, ensuring that everyone understands what needs to be accomplished and can focus their efforts accordingly. The scope statement acts as a crucial communication tool among stakeholders. It ensures that all parties involved, project team members, sponsors, clients, and other stakeholders, have a shared understanding of the project's goals, deliverables, and limitations. This common understanding fosters collaboration, reduces misunderstandings, and aligns expectations. Lastly, a well-defined scope statement helps prevent scope creep. Scope creep occurs when additional features or requirements are added to the project without corresponding adjustments to time, cost, or resources. By clearly outlining what is included and excluded from the project, the scope statement serves as a reference point to manage changes and keep the project on track. In conclusion, the scope statement is a vital document that lays the foundation of the project, establishes clear objectives, acts as an effective communication tool, and helps prevent scope creep. Creating a comprehensive scope statement ensures that the project is well-defined, focused, and poised for success. In this part of the module, we'll break down the essential components of a comprehensive scope statement. Understanding these components, objectives, deliverables, boundaries, requirements, constraints, assumptions, and stakeholder identification, is crucial for creating a detailed and effective scope statement. Let's examine each of these components in detail. The first component is objectives. Objectives define what the project aims to achieve and set specific, measurable goals. These objectives provide direction and serve as benchmarks for success, ensuring that all project activities are aligned with the desired outcomes. Next are deliverables. Deliverables are the tangible or intangible products, results, or services that the project will produce. Clearly defining deliverables ensures that all stakeholders understand what the project will deliver and can measure progress against these specified outputs. Boundaries outline what is included and excluded from the project. They help set clear limits on the project's scope, preventing scope creep and ensuring that resources are focused on the agreed-upon objectives. Defining boundaries clearly can prevent misunderstandings about what the project will and will not cover. Requirements detail the specific needs and expectations that the project must meet. These include functional and non-functional requirements that guide the project's development and ensure that the final deliverables meet stakeholder expectations. Gathering and documenting these requirements is crucial for project success. Constraints are limitations or restrictions that the project must operate within, such as budget, time, and resource limits. Recognizing these constraints from the outset allows project managers to plan accordingly and make informed decisions to navigate these limitations effectively. Assumptions are conditions believed to be true for planning purposes but are not guaranteed. These can include assumptions about resource availability, market conditions, or technological capabilities. Documenting assumptions helps identify potential risks and allows the project team to plan for contingencies if those assumptions prove incorrect. Stakeholder identification involves recognizing all individuals or groups who have an interest in the project and understanding their needs, expectations, and influence. By identifying stakeholders early and engaging with them throughout the project, managers can ensure that the project scope aligns with stakeholder requirements and secures their support. In conclusion, a well-defined scope statement includes objectives, deliverables, boundaries, requirements, constraints, assumptions, and stakeholder identification. These components provide a comprehensive framework for understanding and managing the project scope, ensuring that all aspects of the project are well documented and aligned with stakeholder expectations. In this block, we'll go through the process of creating a scope statement step by step. This process involves gathering information, defining the scope, identifying key elements, documenting the details, reviewing the draft, and obtaining approval. Let's explore each step in detail. The first step is to gather information. This involves collecting all relevant data, insights, and requirements from stakeholders, project documentation, and historical data. Techniques such as interviews, surveys, workshops, and brainstorming sessions can be used to gather comprehensive and accurate information that will inform the scope statement. The next step is to define the scope. Based on the information gathered, outline the project's objectives, deliverables, boundaries, requirements, constraints, and assumptions. This step involves synthesizing the collected data into a coherent definition that clearly describes what the project will and will not include. Identify the key elements that need to be detailed in the scope statement. This includes specifying the project's objectives, deliverables, boundaries, requirements, constraints, assumptions, and stakeholders. Identifying these elements ensures that all crucial aspects of the project are addressed and documented. Once the key elements are identified, the next step is to document the details. Create a comprehensive and structured scope statement that includes all the identified elements. Ensure that the document is clear, concise, and free of ambiguities, providing a solid reference for the project team and stakeholders. After documenting the scope statement, it's essential to review the draft. This involves seeking feedback from stakeholders, project team members, and subject matter experts to ensure that the scope statement is accurate and complete. Address any feedback and make necessary revisions to refine the document. The final step is to obtain formal approval. Present the revised scope statement to key stakeholders and decision-makers for their review and sign-off. Obtaining formal approval ensures that everyone agrees on the project's scope and is committed to supporting it, providing a clear mandate for project execution. In conclusion, the process of creating a scope statement involves gathering information, defining the scope, identifying key elements, documenting the details, reviewing the draft, and obtaining approval. Following this structured process ensures that the project scope is well-defined, comprehensive, and aligned with stakeholder expectations. In our final block, we'll discuss best practices for creating a scope statement. These practices include involving key stakeholders, being specific and clear, setting realistic boundaries, validating assumptions, and regularly reviewing and updating the scope statement. Let's delve into each of these practices. The first best practice is to involve key stakeholders. Engaging stakeholders early and throughout the project ensures that their needs, expectations, and insights are considered. This collaboration helps in creating a comprehensive scope statement that has broad support and accurately reflects stakeholder requirements. Next, it's crucial to be specific and clear. Avoid vague language and ambiguities in the scope statement. Clearly define objectives, deliverables, boundaries, requirements, constraints, and assumptions. Specificity and clarity help prevent misunderstandings and ensure that all stakeholders have a precise understanding of the project scope. Setting realistic boundaries is another essential practice. Clearly delineate what is included and excluded from the project. This helps manage expectations and ensures that the project team focuses on the agreed-upon objectives. Realistic boundaries also help in resource planning and prevent scope creep. Validating assumptions is critical for project success. Assumptions are often based on uncertain conditions, so it's important to review and validate them with stakeholders and subject matter experts. This practice helps identify potential risks and plan for contingencies, ensuring that the project is based on realistic expectations. Lastly, regularly review and update the scope statement. Projects can evolve, and it's essential to keep the scope statement current. Schedule periodic reviews to ensure that the scope statement reflects any changes in project requirements, objectives, or constraints. Keeping the document up to date helps maintain alignment and supports effective project management. In conclusion, best practices for creating a scope statement include involving key stakeholders, being specific and clear, setting realistic boundaries, validating assumptions, and regularly reviewing and updating the document. By following these practices, you can ensure that your scope statement is comprehensive, accurate, and aligned with stakeholder expectations, providing a solid foundation for project success. Creating a scope statement involves understanding its importance as the project's foundation, clearly defining objectives, and preventing scope creep. Key components include objectives, deliverables, boundaries, requirements, constraints, assumptions, and stakeholder identification. Following a structured process of gathering information, defining, documenting, reviewing, and obtaining approval, along with best practices such as involving stakeholders, being specific, setting realistic boundaries, validating assumptions, and regularly updating the scope statement, ensures clarity and project alignment. Thank you for your time, and we will see you in Module 2 of the Lesson 7. Also, thank you for the support. Like and subscribe to the channel.